Hello, once again, this is Lita Downs from the Office of Teaching and Learning Excellence, and I will be your host today for our breakout series session, Get Started with Microcourse Publishing. And as you see on the line, we have Dr. Deborah Morris and Dr. Alan Seidman. Dr. Deborah Morris is the Dean of the School of Lifelong Learning, and Dr. Alan Seidman is Emeritus Faculty in the PhD Education Program. It is my honor to be your host today, and at this point, I will turn things over to you.
Great, thanks, Lita, and great to see everybody here today, even though I can't actually see you. I hope you can see us, and we're just going to go through a short discussion today about our initiative in the School of Lifelong Learning called Faculty Microcourse Publishing. And we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that initiative, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions and sharing ideas and so forth when we get to that point. So just a little bit about me. As Lita said, I'm the Dean of our School of Lifelong Learning here at Walden, but I also have several other roles working with our Office of Degree Acceleration and Learning Pathways and a whole variety of things that I won't go into a lot of detail about. But today we are talking about an initiative in the School of Lifelong Learning, which is our Continuing Professional Education non-degree, non-credit division. And with me is one of our faculty microcourse authors, Alan Seidman. He's published one course with us already and is working on his second. So Alan, why don't I let you introduce yourself really briefly?
Thank you very much, Deborah. I think after everybody goes through this session, you're going to be real excited about developing your own courses. It is just so much fun to try to develop something that you know that you're going to have published and help people actually learn a skill. I've been with Walden since 2004, so I'm one of the long timers. And I'm also the founder and editor of the Journal of College Student Retention, Research, Theory, and Practice. It's a scholarly referee journal, and it's in its 25th year. And that was my first course. My first course was Strategies to Publishing Your Work in a Scholarly Journal. And I think it's gotten some very good feedback from people that have taken it. And I think when you go through this and listen to what Deborah has to say, and I'll reinforce some of the things along the line, you'll agree with me that this is something you might want to really participate in.
Great, thanks, Alan. Yeah, and I guess I should say also that even though I have an administrator role now, I've been a faculty member, but my main love is curriculum development and instructional design. So I'm really looking forward to my retirement job when I just get to do instructional design, because this is one of the most fun projects I get to work on, working with faculty to help them conceptualize and craft and create their own School of Lifelong Learning microcourse.
The problem with that, Debbie, is you have about 30 more years until you retire.
You'd think so, but it's not true. Thanks, though. Going on to the next slide, if we could, Lita. All right, so just a little bit about this initiative. What is faculty microcourse publishing? Well, in Walden, we have a long history, and I was part of the organization called PSID, or now PDCD, that manages all of our curriculum development, and they do a wonderful job. And they normally partner very closely with our faculty who have subject matter expertise to put a faculty member and a professional instructional designer together to develop our degree programs. Well, one of the things we wanted to try in the School of Lifelong Learning, since we have a rather different approach to courses, we don't offer a 12-week or 11-week courses with an instructor. We offer very short, bite-sized professional development that is normally self-paced. The user goes through it at their own pace. They can access it anytime, anywhere. There's no facilitator, there's no instructor. So the course itself really has to teach. That's our normal mode. And so we thought, why not get our faculty involved in creating their own microcourses? Let's use this as a way to showcase our own faculty's expertise give them an opportunity to learn a little bit about course development, add to their own resume. I believe that curriculum development is a scholarly activity and it belongs on your CV. And also maybe as a way to even a little bit more rapidly and agilely try out some ideas for different kinds of courses, do a little bit of sort of rapid development to get something out there and see how it does in the marketplace. So that's the point of this initiative. And we have done now, I think we're in our 4th round of development, and we'll be getting ready to kick off our 5th round of development, probably sometime in the spring. We'll talk a little bit more about our process in a minute. So if we can go on to the next slide. So one of the keys to remember here is that because these are short 1-hour micro courses that are offered in the School of Lifelong Learning, our audience is perhaps a little bit different than what you would be used to in the degree programs that you teach. So what we're shooting for are people who are working professionals who need to stay current in their fields, who need continuing education hours. We do offer continuing education credit for many of the professional organizations like nursing and counseling. We're getting approved for social work. So it's for people who are not currently part of Walden necessarily, although we do try to make sure our former students, our graduates, our alumni have an opportunity to participate as well. And people who are maybe even interested in Walden and want to learn a little bit more about our institution, but it's people currently outside of the university who need to stay current on their knowledge and skills and improve their practice. So we're not currently targeting Walden faculty and students. We have in Lita's organization, the Office of Teaching and Learning Excellence, a whole organization that does that, right? But we have had a few sort of trial programs where people who are Walden faculty have developed a course that's specifically, say, for Walden doctoral students. And I can even tell you a little bit more about that if you're interested in. But in general, we are shooting for audiences external to Walden, working professionals, people that need continuing education experience and credits.
And to piggyback on that, before you go to the next slide, it's also very important for people with working professionals that a lot of you faculty are doing research, and instead of you could not only publish your research in a journal, you can actually publish it into a micro course, and that will keep everybody current. So that's another option for you.
Okay, go on to the next slide. Okay, so this is a very basic overview of our process, and I have to say that we reserve every right to change this at any point because we're constantly trying to improve. We're trying to make sure that we do things in the most efficient, time-effective manner possible. We know that you're very busy, we're very busy. We need to do this in as efficient and as agile a manner as possible. But in general, we start with a proposal. It's meant to be a very brief proposal, like a one-pager that says, this is the course I want to develop. These are the types of learning objectives I want to hit. Here's the audience. Here's, this is the rationale for the course, essentially. Remember, these are just 1-hour micro courses, so it should not be terribly extensive. And then we also ask for your CV because that helps us know that you have, the background and expertise to develop a course on this particular topic. And then we go to a proposal review stage where we have a small committee within the School of Lifelong Learning. Really, honestly, it's just Wendy Lin, who's the product manager for School of Lifelong Learning, and myself, and a couple of other colleagues who help ensure that the courses that we're selecting for further development are marketable, that there's an audience out there that would actually be interested in purchasing the course, and that it's relevant to the audience that we're shooting for. And then we move on to something that we call a course planner. Now, this is the part that we may change down the line because, and Alan, you can talk more about this. This is currently what we do as a step for governance within the university so that our School of Lifelong Learning CAP has something to review and approve. But we're looking at ways to improve that and streamline that. And so we may kind of shuffle this around a little bit, but the essence of the course planner is that it is a slightly longer, more detailed document that lays out, okay, within my 1 hour micro course, what are the lessons that I want to establish? And here it just gives us a sense that again, you have an idea of some content that is appropriate for a 1 hour course. It's doable. It's not too much. It's not too light. It's something that is going to make sense to learners. It's something that we will be able to sell through the School of Lifelong Learning.
And they also look at to see the link between each of the lessons, because sometimes you get so caught up in it that they're a little disjointed. So that's where Deborah and her team come in, and they help you with the planner to make sure that everything is, as we tell our students, make sure that everything's aligned when you're doing your dissertations. And it's similar with that. The lessons link to one to another, and then of course come to a culmination at the end.
Great, yes. Okay, so we look at the planner, we get our CAP to review that and approve it, and then we go on to the build process. And this is the fun part. This is the part where we get you engaged with our authoring platform for school. And you may have seen this authoring platform active in some of our degree courses because we do use it in other Walden programs. But it's called Rise 360. It's a part of the Articulate 360 authoring suite. And the idea with Rise is it's a tool that you can use to create very engaging, very interactive, visually appealing, fun course for learners. And there's a little bit of a learning curve, but honestly, it's way less than if you were going to go try to learn to be an instructional designer and do coding and learn all kinds of different authoring platforms. It's very, very user-friendly. And I will show you what that looks like in just a minute and talk a little bit about the functionality that it offers that, you know, it's really very, very sort of what you see is what you get, and easy to build in. And then we go through a process of reviewing that and kind of spiffing it up, and then we go to the final publishing stage. So here is where I would really like, Alan, if you would talk a little bit about your experience with this process and kind of if there were frustrations, if there were benefits, you know, don't gloss over it.
The most frustrating part for me was not the proposal or the proposal review, was working on the course planner. And as I said, making sure that all the lessons link to each other, make sure that your objectives that you put down, what you want your audience to learn, are actually connected to one of the courses. And then you have to even filter down a little more on that. The course build was, and then after the planner was approved, after a number of revisions, which is fine, because every time there was a revision, it got a lot stronger. And every time I looked at the constructive critique I got, I was just very, very impressed with Deborah and her crew, and the feedback they give you is just phenomenal. And then after the planner was approved, the course build. I'm not technically challenged. I've been working with computers when the disks used to be this big. So I've really grown up with computers, and the Rise platform, I thought, you know, you got to get these preconceived notions out of your head. My preconceived notion was, how the heck am I going to do this? And let me tell you, it's so much fun. I'm having a ball. It really, really is. Developing that first course, you know, it's a little frustrating, but the help is there. Deborah and her team are there to help you out. And we have meetings. We had a meeting the other day about using scenarios where you have an avatar, and I can't wait to use it. And you'll find that a lot of fun. And then when it gets to actually be published, and then you all of a sudden go, hey, Deborah, is anybody actually taking the course? Just say, yeah, and they're really enjoying it too, because they get feedback. There's a form that they fill out at the end. They get a certificate. And I see some of you are asking about CEU and CHES and ANCC, whatever I don't know what all those terms are, and I'm sure that Deborah will be able to talk to those. But I'm finding it, I have another skill that I've just learned how to use with Rise, and I'm just finding it exciting.
Great, thanks, Alan. I just realized that I was typing responses in the chat and they weren't going to everyone, so I'm going to try to redo that. But for the moment, there was a question from Kathy about CEU microcourses for nurses, and yes, we do that. We do get ANCC approval for nursing CEUs, and Tamikia Luckett is our main point of contact for that. And she is also on our CAP, as a matter of fact. So she's extremely supportive and knows the process. And that is something that we do quite a lot of. And then Sherry had a question about CHES credits. And I honestly don't know the acronym CHS. So, oh, thanks, Lita. She's reposting my comments. So if somebody can clarify for me what is CHES, I can respond to that. But right at the moment, it doesn't sound, I don't think we probably do, but we're always looking for new opportunities and new things to add. We're working right now, I think I mentioned social work, on getting, I think it's called ADSW. Anyway, whatever it is, whatever the Professional Association for Social Work CE is, we're going through the approval process for that now. So
and there are also a lot of folks out there who aren't interested in the CEUs, and they just want to take it to upgrade their skills or learn something new. That's what I have found really interesting, because being the editor of a journal and rejecting so many manuscripts because they just don't follow the correct pattern and stuff. I wanted this to be available for people that they could look at and say, oh, wow, if I take this course and take a look at it, I'll be better prepared to submit to a scholarly journal. So, you know, it's not only for the CEUs, it's also for people to learn.
Yes, exactly. And I see now certified health education specialists. We currently don't do that, but that is an area that's high on our priority list. So that is something that we would love to pursue for sure. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next slide. And here is where we are going to do a little demo of some of the published courses, so you can see a little bit more about the platform and what one of these courses looks like. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. This is a course that was developed by Amy White in education. But as I said, we have courses from all over the board. We have nursing, we have counseling, we have psychology, we have business, we have IT. We have quite a lot of different, we try to keep very, very, very diverse in our offerings so that we are meeting the needs that are out there. But this one is about a concept called social emotional learning. And I'm just going to start the course. You can see this is a Rise 360 is the platform. Amy built this entire course essentially without any help. Here's the menu over here. These are her lessons, and all the learner does is kind of scroll through. This is the welcome page where we learn a little bit more about Amy and the objectives of the course, and then we start. And you can see you can add some lovely images. We can organize our content into some more interactive chunks. You can embed video, and she created her own videos. And so these are embedded in the course as well. And then there are lots of different activities. There's matching, there's sorting. I'll try to find a scenario block and show you one of those. But here is where, the learner can just do kind of a knowledge check kind of thing. I'm going to get this all wrong because I'm just clicking and dragging. And then I submit and I say, oh, no, I didn't quite get all of those. The system can give feedback too if you enter some feedback for each of the correct or incorrect options, but I can always try it again, and it resets and it lets me try again. We can add links to outside media and documents or websites so that you can direct learners to additional resources, and then we'll continue on to the next lesson. Again, video. This is kind of a fun little tool. It's called a labeled graphic, where if I have an image or a table or a graphic of some kind, I can add hotspots and have another way to kind of chunk the content, organize it in a way that is really easily accessible for learners, and show some layers to the content, essentially. Here's an external video that she's linking out to on YouTube, and so on and so forth. So these are all built in. Here's some little flashcards, right? If I want to learn some of this terminology, these are all built-in features of Rise. If I want to add flashcards, I click a menu item that says add flashcards. If I want to add, a tabbed graphic or accordion graphic, I click that button and it adds it. If I want a video, I click that button and it adds it. I just have to go in and add the information. So it's extremely useful to use. Each of our courses also does have a final quiz. So that's part of the responsibilities of developing a micro course, is that I would set up my final quiz of, say, 8 to 10 questions. And here you can do multiple choice. And here I can also see my feedback as I go, or I can have feedback at the end, or I can have no feedback at all. There are lots of different options for this. You can have these kinds of multiple choice questions. You can have multiple response, check the box. You can have matching, you can have sorting. There's a lot of different options to make it really engaging and powerful for learners. So that's one course. I'm gonna skip out of here and I'm gonna go into Alan's course.
Well, wait, while you're doing
go
that,
ahead.
I just want to say, you see how professional that course is and how professional they are. It is just incredible. And I never thought I'd be able to do something like that, to make it looking so professional, like it was store-bought, as I say.
Yeah.
I went into a store and bought it and put it in my computer, and then it came up. So it's really a lot of fun, and you feel a real self-accomplishment when you do this.
There, we do provide some templates, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the support and training materials that we provide. But Alan, you're right. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to use the word easy, but it is easier than many of the alternatives to make something that really does look slick and professional. And here's another labeled graphic. And really engaging. So that's one of the things that I love most about Rise, is how easy it is to engage the learner on meaningful concepts and content, and do something that is very applied, right? This isn't just about reading a bunch of content and reading articles and then answering multiple choice questions. You can do that, but there are so many other ways to engage the learner and allow them to practice with the different concepts via some of these interactive blocks that it really does. Even though there's no instructor, you can create a very, very powerful learning experience that you can address some fairly high level learning objectives, to be honest, I think. So, yep, here's a little knowledge check activity. It's matching game again. I'm going to go back out now and just share one other thing that I do, because you don't have a scenario in your first course, right, Alan? I don't think.
No,
Okay.
but it's good. But there's going to be one in the second course. I can guarantee you that. I can't
Cool.
wait to do it.
I'm trying to remember where I have, let's see, sorry, you guys are watching me scroll through my huge list of courses here. Because I have a course that specifically has a bunch of examples of scenarios, but this is one of the coolest tools that Rise offers, and I really do want to let you see what this looks like. All right, where's my, nope, it's not there. All right, I'll come back to it in a little bit, and as we're talking, I'll see if I can look for it, but I don't want you to watch me, just messing around trying to find one. So if we can go back to your PowerPoint, Lita, I can keep going through some of the other aspects of this initiative, right? So one of the things that we can do that we haven't done to this point is, as I said, we do have a 1-hour training course. I can even show you a little bit of that course if you'd like, that models what a 1-hour micro course should look like. Plus, it teaches you about the capabilities of the platform, as well as some basic aspects of instructional design and ways you can maximize the effectiveness of the platform and make it a really powerful learning experience for learners. So we have that course, it's in Rise. We can provide the link to that, and anyone can go in and take a look through it and basically get a sense of whether this is something that you would like to do or not. So Lita, I don't know if there's a way we can distribute that. I should have put a link to it in the PowerPoint, but I didn't, but maybe we can distribute it after the fact.
Yeah, if you happen to have the link, I can put it in the chat for everybody. And I also saw a great question that just came in from Anton. How do you determine what courses are needed and which topics are likely to be approved? I think that's a great question, Anton.
It is a great question, and we're actually going to get to that exact question in just a second, because I want to talk a little bit about some of our priorities. Oh, I see what it is. Okay, I will get that link. I have to exit this account and sign in via a different account.
Oh, no worries. I can
in order to get where I'm going.
Yes, and I can
So,
email that to everybody who attended today's session and find a way to put it in the.
That's fine. I can get in. I can get in and do it.
Thanks.
So yeah. Okay. Very good. I found what I was looking for. Okay. So we have training courses that you can access. We also provide access to sample micro courses, like some of the ones that we were just looking at. You can get into Rise and go through that at your leisure and see those yourselves. We offer, in addition to this kind of little orientation webinar, we offer sort of training webinars, if you will. That's probably not the best term to use, but live sessions where we go through questions and answers and tips and tricks and things you can do to make your course more effective and learn how to use Rise to the best of your capabilities. During the development phase, while you're actually building the course, I offer live office hours where people can just drop in and ask questions. And we did one of those last week where we talked about scenarios. And then we do have the mailbox that the address for that will be on the last slide, where you can send in questions and requests for help.
You could also ask them to look over your shoulder and come on into the course and give suggestions. After I did my first 2 lessons for my current course, I said, Deborah, could you just poke your head in and see what you think? And the feedback you get is just tremendous. And it really helped me refocus. I redid some of the material to make it even better than I thought it was to begin with.
Good, thanks. I found the link. I'm going to put the link right here. There it is. And this time I think I sent it to everyone. Good deal. All righty. Okay, so if we can go on to the next slide. This is the question about how do we select the topics for courses? What are we most interested in? So, for us, the bottom line is marketability. And we don't necessarily know in School of Lifelong Learning, we don't know the whole market out there. So if you have knowledge of a professional development need in your discipline that maybe we're not currently meeting or isn't currently being met very well, or there's something else that could be done using a 1-hour microcourse, that would be a great topic to propose. And basically that's part of the proposal, is just kind of stating the case. This is the need. This is how I know there's a need. It doesn't have to be extensive. It's just, this is just so that there is some indication that the course will be marketable and that people will pay for it. These faculty developed microcourses, we don't charge a lot for these, so price should not be a barrier for most people. But as you know, these days, people think twice before purchasing anything and spending their hard-earned dollars. So even though a topic might be really interesting and compelling, if we don't feel like there's something that people will actually shell out a few dollars for, then that is something that we would probably have to talk about. But so we really use your input on the marketability of your proposed course as kind of the starting point. But then we do also work with people who are in leadership positions in our academic discipline areas, who themselves also know something about, kind of what the market is out there and where the demand is, where the needs are. And we just try to do the best we can in figuring out what's going to be the best courses to select. Typically, we get way more proposals than we can support, which is great. That's a great problem to have, but it means making some really frustrating decisions. And I know that there have been people who have proposed multiple courses and their course hasn't been selected, and it may not be, it's not any fault of their own. They all could be fabulous ideas. We do have limited resources, and we're trying to, kind of go not only with the best proposals, but also making sure that we have a broad diversity, as I said, a broad range of topics that we're addressing. So if we get like 2,000 proposals in counseling, we're probably not going to be able to select all of those. That's an exaggeration, but we might get 20 proposals in counseling, and we probably can't select all of those either. So anyway, that's part of the decision-making process. But in terms of what we're looking for right now, we definitely want to focus on areas that are kind of part of Walden's brand, right? Things that highlight both what's unique about Walden, our social determinants of health focus, the things that make Walden unique, as well as that play to your own areas of expertise. That's really key. The whole point of this is to showcase your expertise in a particular area. We certainly want to emphasize content that's needed for continuing licensure, because anytime there's sort of that extrinsic motivator that people need something in order to stay licensed or to upgrade their license, that's a gimme, right? That's a kind of a no-brainer in terms of going that direction. I'm sorry, I'm kind of working backwards here. In general, we really want to focus on sort of these higher level leadership topics because of our emphasis on healthcare and the social determinants of health. Those tend to be where we kind of settle, but that doesn't mean we can't do lots of other things, like the 2 courses that we just looked at about social emotional learning and about Alan's course on presenting your research or publishing your research, excuse me. And so we do try to stay broad, but at the same time, we try to stay focused on what makes Walden special and what's really going to speak to our student audience.
And when you look at audiences for publishing, almost all faculty in every college in the United States, if they're up for tenure or promotion, they usually have to publish a certain amount of articles in scholarly journals, and especially for new folks in the field. And I just saw that there was a real need for that. And I was really happy when they selected that to be able to do a course on that.
I hope that answered the question. If there's further questions about that, we can sure talk about it.
Can they also, Deborah, throw ideas out to you if they wanted to?
Yes. Yes, we frequently get people emailing. You can send it to the email address that you'll see on the last slides, slpublishing at mail.waldenu.edu, and say, I'm thinking about doing something on this topic. And we can provide kind of immediate feedback as to whether that sounds like something, because it's also not just the topic, it's the scope, right? Because we'll get an idea once in a while, somebody will propose something, oh, well, that sounds like, you know, a 12-week course, or that sounds like a whole learning path of about 8 one-hour micro courses. And if it's really compelling and really important, we can put that on our list of things that we're going to develop using a more intensive and robust development process. We can certainly do that. But in general, we're looking at scope, we're looking at marketability, we're looking at, you know, is this something that kind of fits with our mission? Cynthia, good question. Is there a place where we can see the list of courses published? You can go to the School of Lifelong Learning. You know what? I'm just going to show this. If I can, Lita, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the School of Lifelong Learning storefront is lifelonglearning.waldenu.edu. And this shows basically all of the SLL offerings, including those that we developed using that, you know, slightly more intensive process. We have learning paths that we charge upwards of, you know, $500–600 for participating in those. And then we have the little shorter 1-hour micro courses. We also offer some of our regular 4-credit courses on the degree side. People can take certain courses as a non-degree student, and they can access those courses through the School of Lifelong Learning as well and earn credit. And of course, those are going to be much more expensive in the thousands of dollars, but a lot of people do take those for continuing licensure. So if you're on the site and you go to explore our offerings, you can go to micro courses right here and learn a little bit about that. And then all of the ones that faculty have developed are listed right here. And you can go to some of the different topics, like here's nursing, right? So these are all the ones that have been published so far. I think there's about 25 of them that we've published so far. And then we have a page where you can see more of the authors that have published courses. There's quite a few of them. And Alan, you're on there somewhere. And then, yeah, there's a little bit of information about this particular initiative and kind of the frequently asked questions about microcourse publishing. So go ahead and take a look at this site. Let me put the URL to that in the chat as well, because I do think that this is a great way to kind of see, you know, what courses are currently available that have been developed by our faculty. There we go. That's the URL. All righty. We can go back to your, yeah. So these are thinking ahead, if this is something that you think you'd be interested in. I have to tell you right now, we're just coming off of, you know, the holiday break, and I don't think we timed this current round of development very well, because I asked everyone to try to have their first lesson done like this past week, and that was really bad timing for most folks. So we're still kind of working through the development process with the current round of authors. And once we get a little bit further into that, we can see more where we're at and where we might be publishing those courses. But I'm thinking now that the next proposal, the next call for proposals will probably go out in March, with a deadline like maybe in late March or early April. But I also we want to be really cognizant of the term calendar as well. You know, most folks will be having a term start at the end of February. And so I'm thinking that, you know, if we can do that and then get into March, that would maybe a good time to think about proposing some new courses. So we'll distribute information about that probably through OTLE as well when we get to that point. If you have questions in the meantime, you can send them to that email address right there. And you can also go to our team site. On that previous slide, there was a link to the team site. And we all know what fun Teams is, right? Everybody knows that it works perfectly every single time and there's never a problem, right? I'm being sarcastic. So if you go to the Teams site and it doesn't let you in, just request entrance and one of us will approve it for you and you'll be able to get in and see a lot more information about, there's a proposal template and there's all kinds of stuff that are on there.
Deborah, if you were able to find the scenario slides, I would definitely show that. But the other thing I wanted to say, and I'll let you answer Joanne's question, was I don't know if this is an option for you. When I was an administrator, a specialization coordinator, that would be one thing. And for the core faculty, I don't know if your administrator would allow you to use that as part of your plan, your work plan.
Yeah, it's always possible.
And that could maybe become part of it. So you should check on that.
Yep. So it is a really good question from Joanne about the IP issue. And we recently made a change to this because, and we're still kind of trying to figure out what's the right approach and what's going to be the most effective for everyone. But right now, the way we have our contract set up, and we do a contract because it's important to document who owns what and who has the rights to what. The university owns the content that we have essentially paid you to develop. But there's a huge but. We license that back to you through a perpetual global, do anything you want with it license. So you can take your content, and Alan's done this, you can take your content and do anything else you want with it. You can sell it, you can deliver it at another institution, you can do anything. So because of the way our the general employment contracts we have set up, we have to, the university needs to stay as like the formal IP owner of the content, but that perpetual license is the way we turn around and say, yeah, but guess what? It's really yours, right? You can do anything you want with it. So it's the best we've been able to do to this point of making sure that you have what you need if you want to take it and do anything else with it.
It's an excellent, I have to say, it's an excellent arrangement. Before they changed it, they had they gave you a stipend, and then they were going to give you a percentage over the first 2 years. And that changed to a stipend. And then they said, here it is. If you want to market it yourself and, charge $1,000 or whatever you want to do, that's up to you. And, that I really like that approach. And, most people are funneled through through Walden, which is fine. And they, you can market it any way you want also, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, and we'd really like to be able to do that revenue sharing thing as well. I mean, to me, that's just really important as a principle. We just haven't been able to make it work. Logistically, with our pay systems, it just hasn't been something we've been able to operationalize. So it's still in the back of my head. It's still something that I want to do at some point. It's a real challenge. And to be perfectly honest, these don't make that much money. That's not the point. The point is not to make a ton of money. The point is to showcase the expertise of our faculty and enhance Walden's brand and connect with alumni and prospects in a different way, and rapidly get stuff to market so that we can see how different topics and different approaches do.
Come on, Deborah, it's just like publishing in a journal. When you see somebody used your work and your name is there,
it's pretty fun.
In a bibliography or a reference list. And the same thing with these courses. When people take a look at them and see it, they contact you, they want to get more information. And that's something that I find very exciting, is being able to help people develop themselves and to really make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. And Walden benefits from it, you benefit from it, and hopefully society benefits from it, because that's what we're all about, social change. And I look at I always have to refer to mine. I look at publishing, and that's where it gets disseminated. That's where people can take a look at it and say, could I replicate this? Could I use it for the common good? And that, to me, is why we're here with Walden.
Absolutely. That's why we get up every morning. So, and speaking of that, I am going to take just 2 minutes. I found a scenario example, and I do want to show this to you because this is like the coolest thing ever. So you saw that in Rise, you can do all kinds of fun little interactives and matching and sorting and all that sort of thing. There's another thing called the scenario block, which is it's where the learner can have essentially a dialogue, a branching dialogue with an avatar or a character. And this is relatively easy to set up. It's much easier than, say, some of you may know the system that we have called Immersion for simulations. That's very cool, and it's probably a lot more flexible, but it's also much harder to develop, and you need a professional media team in order to put it together. This, you can do it yourself. And the first day I learned about Rise, I sat down and built one of these things and just had a total blast. So this is just an example. The point of this scenario is that I'm trying to, it's on a leadership topic. And the idea is that there are different types of leadership that you should use with people who have different levels of experience and expertise. So it's like a situational leadership concept, trying to keep it fairly simple and straightforward, but really targeted on a particular concept. So the scenario is you're a leader of a marketing team. You have just hired a very experienced new marketing manager. How should you work with her to get this new project done? So I'm going to click continue. And you're talking to your new marketing manager and telling her, we've got this new marketing campaign. And your two options are, can you put together a proposal and then let the team know when you're ready to review? Or let's sit down and I, as your manager, will tell you the steps that you need to follow. So those are the two ways I could approach my new manager with this project. Which one is likely to be more effective with her? So let's say I tell her that we need to go down over the steps, and she's like, yeah, she's not really excited about that. She's already gotten started. She's already implementing some best practices that we haven't been using. So she's starting to get a little bit frustrated with my micromanagement. Now I'm going to continue. So she's disappointed and she seems demotivated. So can I backpedal and say, all right, fine, you take it, you run with it? Or should I continue down this path and say, we really need to at least sit down and go over stuff? All right, so I'm going to go that way. And now she's visibly upset. Okay, fine, you're the boss, whatever. She's checked out, she's done. So I've gone down one path in this scenario. How about if I go down the other path? I'm going to do it again. And now I'm going to let her go with it. I'm going to say, go do your thing. Let us know when you're ready to review. And now she's happy. I'm going to get on that immediately. I'm so glad I have your trust and I can work on a proposal for you. So there's a couple of different ways you can branch, but that kind of gives you the idea of, you can make this pretty complicated. You can keep it really simple. You can do a lot of different things to it. This particular scenario has several different characters, and we're testing how they're responding to a change, like a last minute thing that the team is being asked to do. And she's pretty angry. And you're asked a question that you're going to respond to when you're done with the scenario. And now the next guy is displaying a different kind of behavior in this situation. And so it takes you through several different options with each of these characters. And then I answer a knowledge check question about it. So there's a bunch of different things you can do with this tool. It makes it very real, very applied, very focused on the way that concepts can be used in a real world situation. And It's pretty flexible. It's not as flexible as some people would like it to be, but it's as flexible as it needs to be and still say simple enough that somebody like myself with no technical ability can sit down and do it. So that's the scenario tool. And that's like Rise runs the gamut from, I can just put in some text and pictures. I can put in some interactive games. I can put in some video. I can put in something very, very robust and engaging. So other questions? I don't want to lose the opportunity for other ideas or things people would like to talk about or know about.
Don't get intimidated by the process. That's all I could say. If you have an idea, put it down, send it over, and they'll give you immediate feedback. And I won't tell them that I was rejected on the first round, but I will. But I was accepted on the second round.
Persistence pays off.
Exactly. Well, that stuff happens. I didn't get discouraged, and I took the feedback very, very seriously, and then went back and redid what I needed to do. But it's so much fun to act, the sense of accomplishment to develop something so professional. I mean, it really is professional.
Yeah.
It is just something that is intrinsic within all of us to be able to do a job well done that is going to hopefully make a difference, help with social change, help Walden, make them a little money. It's just a pequeño, not much, but it's a commitment that people have. Now, the other thing that Deborah didn't say is when a person actually signs up for the course, they have 180 days to complete it. So they can go in and out, in and out, in and out. And the nice thing with Rise is they could do it on on their phone. They could do it on an iPad or a pad, and on their computer, which is really nice too. So, if they don't get around to doing the whole thing in one sitting, they could do it in 2 sittings, 3 sittings, whatever. And then they actually get a certificate that says a certificate of completion, which is very nice if they get 80%.
Right. Got to pass the quiz, but you get plenty of attempts, as many attempts as you want to pass the quiz. So we're easy. Yeah. Oh, hey, Richard's here. Cool. Yes. Nice. Yes. We have some other former authors and current authors on the call too. So thank you for that. As far as Kathy asked about next steps, I would just reiterate that probably it's a great idea to go in and take a look at the training course. The link is in the chat, and I know we'll send that out afterwards. So go in and look at it's called Essentials of Microcourse Authoring. You can go through that anytime you want, go through it at your leisure, and it gives you some ideas about what you could do with the platform. Think on topics, noodle around ideas for proposals, maybe, send us a question, and then just be ready when we issue the next call for proposals again, hopefully in March. Then we'll be ready to start, looking in earnest at the next round. It's I'm going to say likely that in the next round, we're going to try to be a little more targeted. Now, we're going to try to do a better job of outlining some of the really hot topics that we are definitely looking for. That doesn't mean you can't propose something on something totally different, because we don't want to limit creativity, and we always want to make sure we're casting the net as widely as possible. But we are going to try to focus, if we can, on things that are going to really add to our catalog of courses, and just be as marketable as possible, I guess you could say. I guess that's it. Thank you so much. Think of this as just the start of a beautiful relationship, hopefully, and we will all work together in the future and develop really cool, fun micro courses, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thanks so much, Deborah and Ellen. It's so exciting. And once again, I was so excited when I saw that we have some past publishers on the line. So please don't hesitate to reach out. You see the email on the screen. And once again, thank you to our presenters for carving out time to enlighten us on this process. And for those of you who joined, we hopefully will see some of your proposals. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.